What is up everyone, welcome back to Lex Alexis. Today is Friday, so it's time for our championship score predictions, match day 39, and we've got some FA Cup quarter-final fixtures to predict as well. So we've got a lot to uncover in this video today. If you guys want to see the updated standings of the Let's Alexis Football Prediction League, make sure you check out my latest community post that shows the Let's Alexis Football Prediction Leagues, but also go to the community post because there is also a post that I will be doing a video with Ben HD, the king of the championship, very soon, and we've not got many questions to ask him at the moment. So if you've got any questions, either comment a question in this video or reply to the community post. I don't have any preference, but please do get involved because this is your chance, you know, to see the collab that all of you have been building this channel up for. If you guys like what you see, please give the video a like. It just tremendously helps the channel. Let's try and aim for 15 likes. I think that'll be a great target. Please also hit the subscribe button because we're still trying to grow as a channel. That'll be absolutely appreciative. And please share this channel as well because that is how we're going to grow together as a community. But without any further ado, let's start predicting these weekend's games. So the first game to predict is Derby going up against Coventry. Derby, for me, away from home, have not really covered themselves in too much glory. Their form has not been great, losing 5 games out of their last 6. They're finding themselves in a position now where they're 6 points behind Reading and have played 1 game more than Reading as well. And Reading, in their last game, you know, in midweek, I think put their best performance as they have done, you know, since Paul Ince was in charge. So Derby have really got to start getting their act together and to definitely take charge of their home games. They do face a Coventry side where, after beating Sheffield United 4-1, it looked like that they tried to reignite some chances of getting into the top 6, but a poor defeat in midweek at home against Hull City has definitely put them in a position now where I don't think they will get top 6. It's 3 defeats in Coventry's last 4 games, and following that, Derby have had a pretty strong home record all season. They would actually be in the top 6 if their points were just based on home games. I think Derby might edge Coventry here. As a prediction, I'm going to go for 1-0. Derby barely have any absentees. Coventry have got a couple to deal with, and I think Derby might take advantage of that. So I'll say 1-0 Derby, and Fifa's saying 2-0 to Coventry. Next game is Sheffield United going up against Barnsley. We've got a Yorkshire derby in our early Saturday kickoff, and I'm excited to see how this one turns out because both these teams I think will actually be very close. You know, on paper you would argue with squads that Sheffield United is better than Barnsley's, but Sheffield United have been hit with a real bad injury list. If you just list some of the players that they've got injured, they've got the likes of O'Connell, Brewster, they've got McBurney injured, they've got Davies injured, they've got so many first team players, the Goldrick too, they've got so many players in their first team that are injured, and I think it has taken an effect on them, and it's the really worst time for Sheffield United to have this long injury list, so they'll be grateful for the international break coming after this weekend. Barnsley would not really want the international break because Barnsley's form has really been on the up. You know, they're undefeated in the last 3. They managed to get a great draw against Fulham, and they had a brilliant win in midweek over Bristol City as well. And against this Sheffield United side where their squad is looking quite depleted, Barnsley might fancy their chances here. Having said that, a lot of the points that Barnsley have been creating recently have been at home games. Away from home, I'm still not convinced. Sheffield United, in general, have been much stronger at home. Their last home game was that fantastic victory over Middlesbrough in midweek. So as a prediction, I still think Sheffield United might just edge this, but only just. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Sheffield United, and Fever's gone for a 0-0 draw. Next game to predict is Bristol City versus West Brom. Bristol City just been very peculiar to try and predict. They've lost 4 games out of their last 6, and when they tune in a brilliant performance like a snatch and grab win against Blackburn, then they turn up in midweek against Barnsley and put a very shoddy performance and lose by 2-0. And Bristol City, you know, can't be up there if they're going to keep having those inconsistencies. What's also worse as well is that they've got a lot of their defensive and midfield options injured as well. including the likes of Alex Scott, which I think is a real blow. So it's very likely that they can't actually go with the normal formation they're used to. But Nigel Pearson, we're going to have to change his formation quite a fair bit. West Brom look like that they're slowly but surely starting to recover a little bit. They're 3 games unbeaten, 2 wins in those 3 games as well. I would say 2 of those games had good defensive performance, maybe taking away the one against Huddersfield. But regardless, you know, it's tough teams that they managed to pick up 7 points from in their last 3. And I think West Brom will be looking at this time, this is now or never. They're going to have to be close to faultless if they want to have any possibility of getting into the top 6 now. And against Bristol City, who are quite good at home, I think West Brom on paper should be looking at this game and be beating this Bristol City side. They also have a really strong record against this Bristol City side as well. So as a prediction, I'm going to go for 2-0 West Brom. But I won't be surprised if I'm wrong on this. And Fifa's gone for a 1-0 win to Bristol City. It really could go either way, to be honest. Next game, which is undoubtedly the game of the championship this weekend. Huddersfield versus Bournemouth. It is 3rd place going up against 2nd place. And this could be a huge game for Huddersfield because they can tie on points with Bournemouth, you know, by the international break. So they'll be right on Bournemouth's tails if they can definitely win over this Bournemouth team. And I won't lie, this Bournemouth team have been a little bit inconsistent. They've managed to only win once in their last 4 games, which was that 2-0 win over Derby, where I would dare say some decisions did go their way as well. But it's Huddersfield, though, they have lost eventually their unbeaten run. It has ended at 16 games. They lost in midweek to Millwall, where I would say Millwall, I will talk about them in a minute, but they're the informed team in the Championship with Nottingham Forest for me. But Millwall put in a brilliant performance. Afobe was really impressive in that game. And Huddersfield, you know, will probably feel lucky they didn't concede more. Nichols made a brilliant point-blank save to deny Millwall even scoring even more. And this is now 2 games in a row where they did manage to win. Obviously, they threw a 2-goal lead against West Brom and obviously lost by 2 goals against Millwall. Could this be the start of Huddersfield now losing their momentum? They're going to have to try and find an inspiring performance to get that momentum back. They can't afford a drop now. I don't know why, but based on performances, I feel like Huddersfield can respond. Bournemouth weren't really that convincing against Reading. They had a good first half, but second half they weren't really that great. And I'm going to say Huddersfield may respond here. Their home form has been immaculate very recently. You know, the times they dropped points was actually from away games. But I think at home, I think Huddersfield are better. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Huddersfield. Why not? It'll definitely throw, you know, the competition out the window when it comes to the top 6. And Fever's gone for 2-0 Huddersfield, so not far away from me. Next game is Hull versus Luton Town. Both teams picking up a brilliant win in midweek. Hull picking up a brilliant 2-0 away win against Coventry. Maybe a bit fortunate they kept that clean sheet. Ian Matson's shot nearly going across the line, but they did manage to keep that clean sheet, and it's a brilliant performance by this Hull City side. Luton most definitely had the performance of midweek though, beating Ryan Lowe's Preston by 4-0, where Preston away from home looked like that they turned a new leaf and were absolutely brilliant. I think they only conceded 1 away goal since Ryan Lowe took over, so absolutely crazy that Luton managed to pull in that performance to score 4 goals. I mean, it was really shoddy stuff from Preston, but Luton responded in a big way. You know, to have that response after losing the way they did against QPR after taking the lead at half-time, of course, this is giving me really good encouragement that I think Luton could be a real force in the top 6 if they do manage to make it there in the end of the season. As a prediction, for me, I'm not too confident with Luton, and it's not because of their performances, but it's their injury problems. They've got Lockyer and Naismith out injured. They've got a couple more defensive options injured as well. And I think what's going to happen is that Nathan Jones is going to find himself in a situation where he's not going to have any recognised centre-back playing as a centre-back, which can be a problem. Hull, though, have been a bit inconsistent going forward. For me, I think Luton will be determined to try and keep a clean sheet, so I don't think they'll be as attacking as normal. But something tells me they can still pull out the bag. I'm just going to edge Luton for a 1-0. I don't think there'll be many goals in this game. And Fever's actually going to agree with me. Next game to predict is Reading versus Blackburn. Now, what I will say, Reading I think have definitely improved, especially with that 1-1 draw over Bournemouth. I would dare say that even when they lost 1-0 to Millwall at home, they were quite unlucky, Reading, not to get something out of it. And of course, Millwall managed to capitalise on Reading just being very poor at one position of defence. But they can't afford to do that again against Blackburn, because we know what Blackburn are like. They are very clinical. They have the attacking stats of someone of a lower league team, but their clinical rate, you know, is right up there for like a top 2 like promotion winning team. So Blackburn are very, very dangerous at, you know, putting the ball in the back of the net. You know, if they have a really good chance, they'll take it. But I'm not confident of Blackburn away from home. They've not won away in their last 6, and in those 6 games, they've not scored a single goal. So I'm not too confident that Blackburn are going to have any chances away from home. This is Reading's for the taking for me. If Reading get a 1-0 win here, this will be crucial, and I can see it as well. But for some reason, I think Blackburn may get away with it, because I don't think Reading can find the ball in the back of the net either. I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw. And FIFA has gone for 2-1 Reading. Honestly, it may not even be far away from that. I won't be surprised if Reading pick up all 3 points here. Next game is Stoke versus Millwall. Now, you've got one of the worst informed teams at home playing against one of the most informed teams away from home. And it'll be so typical for Championship if Stoke managed to get a win there based on the polarising runs of form. Stoke have just completely fallen apart. It's now 7 games that they've not been able to win a game. They managed to lose their midweek game against Cardiff as well, after taking the lead as well, which is even doubly as disappointing for this Stoke City side as well. It just goes to show how much I think they do rely on Nick Powell. He's not going to be available. He's got an injury, and you know, pretty much since Nick Powell's really been out the squad, Stoke have not really been able to find a creative and attacking outlet, which is very, very scary for the fact that they actually have to rely on Nick Powell so much. Now with Millwall, I am so impressed with their form. They were up there for one of the best performances in midweek. The fluid football that they played against Huddersfield was quite amazing, to be honest. And Millwall are definitely trying to get a late resurgence to try and get into those top 6 places. And they are only 5 points off the top 6, to be honest. So it's definitely not impossible if Mill can keep this run of form going in the next couple of games. But this will be one of the few teams who would be disappointed of the international break, because they definitely would want to be continuing this momentum. As a prediction, I think Millwall could get something. I don't really predict Millwall to win all that much, but I'll predict a win now. I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to Millwall. And FIFA's gone for an emphatic 4-0 away win. Next game to predict is Swansea versus Birmingham. Now, 2 very, very different performances in midweek. We see Birmingham being a team that have just not been able to create enough, you know, and defensively, they've really been lackluster as well, conceding 2 against Middlesbrough, losing by 2-0. They face a Swansea side where they managed to win, you know, very different to what Birmingham did, but also concede so many goals too. They conceded 2 goals against Peterborough, but fair play to Michael Obafemi. He dragged Swansea across the line to get that 3-2 win there, and this is now really putting Swansea in a pretty decent position now. They're on 47 points. They've got 2 games in hand over Preston as well, and only 4 points behind them. So Swansea could definitely go for a top half finish if their form continues to be okay, you know, in this time. This is the trouble with Swansea. They would definitely be right up there in the table if they weren't so inconsistent. You know, after that brilliant win over West Brom and Coventry, then they go and lose 2 games where they concede 5 against Fulham and then 1 against Blackpool, where they really shouldn't have lost. So if Swansea can cut out that inconsistency, they could be a force. As a prediction, I actually think Swansea may score a couple. I think at home I really do back Swansea. I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory over Swansea. And FIFA's gone for a 1-0 home win. And the final Championship game to predict is QPR versus Peterborough. This is exciting because both of these sides have actually already met twice this season. One time, obviously, when QPR had to face Peterborough at their stadium. But they've also faced each other in the FA Cup, where Peterborough managed to get the victory over QPR. And Peterborough have managed to get 2 wins over QPR this season. So Peterborough definitely need all the points that they can get right now. They wouldn't like that they're away from home because they've only picked up 5 away points all season. But QPR, you know, they've got a great record over them and they could definitely have a chance. But having said that, QPR did look like that they've restored their top 6 hopes after a brilliant 2-1 victory over Luton Town. A great inspiring performance in the second half by this QPR side, of course. Now, it actually would not surprise me if Peterborough gets something, because I believe Dykes, Dieng and Chris Willock are injured. And that is a real bad blow for QPR if that's the case. And I think Peterborough, their only main injury concern is Steve Bender, but I do back Cornell to be a decentish goalkeeper there. I'm going to say they'll cancel each other out. I've not predicted many draws, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this game here. FIFA, on the other hand, has gone for a 1-0 QPR win. The final two games to predict are going to be the FA Cup games. I'll be a bit quicker with those. So we've got Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool. I mean, Nottingham Forest should be feeling very proud of themselves to get into this stage in the quarter-finals. They've had to beat some tough teams to get there as well. They've had to beat Arsenal. They've had to beat Leicester. Then probably their toughest team who they had to face against last, Huddersfield Town, who at that time were in that incredible run of form. Liverpool have had a little bit more of a straightforward run to get into this stage of the competition. But this will be the point where I do think the Premier League teams are now going to start showing their quality, you know, over the lower league opposition here. Liverpool could go a little bit weak, although having said that, because of the international break coming very soon, they could potentially use a lot of their strong squad. And then, you know, they'll now be able to send their players away into the international duty. So it's not like they've got a game, you know, Premier League game in midweek to try and cater over. They had a great win over Arsenal, not a great performance, but a great win over Arsenal, a 2-0 win, which definitely only puts them only 1 point behind Manchester City now, so they'll be strong favourites for the Premier League. As a prediction, I think Liverpool might win by 2-0, although Steve Cooper's had some really good battles against some Premier League managers before, so I would definitely want to see Nottingham Forest have a really good amount of fight, but FIFA's going to agree with me. Final game is Middlesbrough versus Chelsea. There's been a lot of controversy about this game. Obviously, I think we've all heard about the developments on leading up to this game, that Chelsea have requested that the games play behind closed doors because we didn't get enough ticket sales, of course. Basically, what's going to happen is that it's going to feel like a very similar game to what Chelsea played against Lille, where there's going to be over maybe even 50 times more Lille fans than there will be as Chelsea fans, because obviously with the sanctions going on, you know, it's a club, you know, full of scrutiny in the media right now, and I think media will absolutely love it if Middlesbrough can beat this Chelsea side. And Chris Wilder has got the better of Chelsea once or twice before, so Chris Wilder may be backing his chances a little bit. We've also played some midweek Champions League games as well, but to be fair, Middlesbrough did play a midweek as well, so both teams probably will be feeling around the same level, especially if both teams go strong in this game. I really don't want to predict Chelsea to win because I know I always jinx myself. You know, we had a really tough game against Luton Town. I think this will be a very similar feeling in this game here. If anything, it'll be even more frustrating to try and break this Middlesbrough side down. I'm going to go for 2-1 Chelsea very begrudgingly, but knowing me, because I predicted Chelsea to win, they're going to find a way to, you know, screw me over there. But FIFA's saying 4-0 Chelsea. I would love if that happens, but I personally don't think it will. So guys, that is my predictions for the Championship games and the 2 FA Cup quarter-final games involving the Championship clubs. For all my predictions for the Premier League and the remaining quarter-final games, they are on the left-hand side of the screen right now. Make sure, guys, you predict the Championship games in the comments, because it's those games that are going to count towards the prediction league. The FA Cup and Premier League games are just going to be for a little bit of fun. But now I have to wrap it up for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, please give the video a like. It just tremendously helps the channel. Please do hit the subscribe button if you've not done so. It does really help the growth of this channel. And please share this channel to as many people as you can, because that will really help the growth of this channel. But now I wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary for studying this video. And as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.